I was contacted by Reolink a few weeks ago. They asked me if I would be interested in reviewing one of their cameras. Now in 2019, in January, I reviewed a camera of theirs that I'd bought myself, and I thought it was a really very good camera. And what they're not aware of is since then I've bought quite a lot of Reolink equipment, because as far as I'm concerned, after testing and using quite a lot of CCTV equipment, I think Reolink is the best. It's really well made, it lasts, and the picture quality is really very good. So I was really happy to review a camera, and I selected this one to review. This one is a Reolink RLC-423. It's a 5 megapixel camera, pan, tilt and zoom. It's got a 4x optical zoom. It's 2K resolution, which is 2560 by 1920, so it's a better resolution than 1080p. Not quite as good as 4K, but having other cameras with the same resolution, it is much better than 1080p. And it's also power over Ethernet, which is important to me because I've got a Reolink MVR, which I paid for myself. Before I get into the review, I want to actually show you some footage that's been recorded directly from the camera. Now, this has been recorded on an MVR, and at the moment I'm demonstrating the pan capability of the camera, and you'll notice that it can go more than 360 degrees. In fact, the pan doesn't have any physical stops. It can go round and round and round. So it's got more than 360 degrees pan. The tilt function of the camera goes from 0 degrees to 90 degrees vertically downwards, but then it's got a neat feature where it flips around 180 degrees and then goes back the other way from 90 degrees back to 0 degrees. So in a way it's got a 180 degrees tilt feature. It won't go any higher than horizontal. So you're probably wondering why the video footage from the camera doesn't take up the full screen on the TV, and that is because it's a widescreen TV. The footage from the camera is actually in 4:3 aspect ratio, and a widescreen TV is 16:9. So most TVs have got an adjustment so that you can actually see it stretched out. For example, if I go on this particular TV, which is a 1080 TV, you can see it says picture size 16:9. Now it stretches the picture to fill the screen. If I change that to 4:3, which is the native resolution of the camera, everything looks taller, but in actual fact that is displayed correctly. When I put it back to 16:9, it's stretched out to fill the screen. Now personally, I prefer it stretched out to fill the screen because that is what I'm used to seeing. So the next thing I'm going to demonstrate is the zoom. I'll zoom in onto the barn, and remember this has got a 4x optical zoom, and as you can see the autofocus comes straight in there. And again you can see just how good quality this video is. I'm very impressed with the video quality, and shortly I'll zoom out and we'll see the autofocus kick in and focus the picture again. It is very good quality, it's very smooth, really nice video, and I'm very impressed with it. The next two clips are to show you how good the camera is at facial recognition. On this particular clip we're at minimum zoom, so the camera is not zoomed in at all, and I'm approaching from a distance. Now it's quite late before you can recognise my face, and that is because of the wide angle of the lens, but as you can see I'm approaching now, and about now you can sort of get a good recognition of my face. On this next clip I'm fully zoomed, so on maximum zoom, and you can recognise me much earlier. So it goes without saying that you should experiment to find the best place to place your camera and the best sort of zoom to have it set at, so you can recognise people approaching. In this clip it is dark, but it's not fully dark, it's dusk outside, and you can see we've got some deer there that are about to cross the road. But it will give you an idea of the sort of video that the camera will produce. This clip was when it was really dark outside, and I haven't shown it on this clip, but I could see myself 70 meters away with the IR lights, so that's pretty good, 70 meters. The white blur that you can see at the top of the picture where the timestamp is caused by the IR lights reflecting off the camera frame, and if I pan down slightly then that goes away. So this is just a quick look at the packaging. Inside the box, the camera, fixtures and fittings, associated paperwork, power adapter with 2 different fittings, UK and Europe. They just slot onto the power adapter, a waterproof Ethernet connector and an Ethernet cable. Just a quick look at the associated paperwork. There is a set of operating instructions. On this particular camera they've provided the facility to use it if you don't have POE. you can actually use the power supply that's provided and just connect a normal Ethernet cable to it and use it as a normal CCTV camera. But unfortunately, if you want power over Ethernet, you've got this massive clump of cable to try and sort out, especially if you're trying to hide the cables. But this actually comes with facility to get rid of those cables, and I'll show you that in a second. But I'll just go through what these cables are. This is the Ethernet cable. This is the reset cable. That little white button there is to reset the camera. This one is one I've not seen before. It's audio in. I certainly won't be using that. This is a little earth cable, and this one is for the power supply if you're not using power over Ethernet. You've got the facility to get rid of these cables and just have the Ethernet cable and the reset button visible, and I'll show you that in a second. There's enough room in the base for you to stuff all the cables up and inside and just leave the Ethernet cable and the reset button outside so that you don't have cables hanging all over the place. That is my Reolink MVR, and as you can see, I've connected this camera now onto a wooden base just so that it's easier for me to video what's going on. This is the Ethernet cable coming from the MVR, so I'm going to plug that in now. This camera is plug and play, so we'll plug that in and we'll see what happens. So as you can see, it's going through a startup sequence. So as you can see, it's come up without me doing anything. The MVR system really is a gem. It's so easy to use. I'm just going to move this into the next point in the slot, and then we can open that up so you can get the full picture. Now that is very good quality. Very impressed with that. So on the MVR, we've got all the controls for the camera. So we'll look at the pan, tilt and zoom. And this has got a huge pan, so if I go all the way one way, actually I didn't realise that it is just a 360 degree pan. That is amazing. I was not expecting that. So it's a full 360. Let's go for the zoom. And let's zoom out. Now it should be a bit quicker on the autofocus. Now it's out. There we go, it's focused. So there is a manual focus if you find that it can't control it properly, and that's quite easy to use, and you can alter the speed of all of the functions with this little menu here. So basically that's the MVR. Now I just want to show you, if I go onto my PC, so this is a Reolink client. I've just opened it up. And as you can see, I haven't done anything, and there is the camera there on the bottom. So it's installed itself onto the PC client, and the Reolink PC client is just as good as the MVR, in all fairness. It really is. It's a smashing piece of kit. And that's what I used before I got the MVR, because I had 3 or 4 cameras. But the MVR just makes life so much easier. So as you can see so far, I've not even touched that, and the camera's on there. I can do anything I want with the camera from the computer software. So if you install that, it will be just as easy to install the camera on the PC software as it is on the MVR. And the same goes for the app as well. I'll show you the app in a second. So it's not on there at the moment. Come out with the full screen. Click on there. That looks like it's there actually. Yes, so it just needed to actually update. I use this all the time when I'm away, and it's very, very simple to keep an eye on what's going on at home. Everything just works, and that's the beauty of Reolink. So I know I didn't really show you setup on there. I didn't have to, it did it all itself. But if you are not sure how to do it, Reolink have got a fabulous support centre. I've contacted them several times over the last year or so with just little problems. One of them was a problem where I broke the camera that I reviewed initially, and it was something that was my own fault, and they sent me something to repair it with, which I thought was excellent customer service. and I had an issue with the MVR which was sorted very quickly. They really do have a very good customer support service, so bear that in mind. So what I'm going to do now is actually mount the camera outside. Right, so I've installed the camera on top of the shed there. I just made a little stand for it. As you can see, there's only one cable. So just the Ethernet cable is providing the power and transmitting the data. So the first thing I'll do is I'll do a full pan. And that is really nice quality video. I don't know how well that's going to come out on the camera, but I am very impressed with that. It is a lovely picture. And we'll go in for a zoom. So that's a 4x zoom. Notice how quickly that focused. It was straight there. That is fabulous. It really is. On all the software we've got the facility to brighten up the image or make it darker. Contrast, saturation, hue and sharpen, they're all there. So if you're not going for the MVR, you can actually use the PC client. The other thing that you can do is record directly to your hard drive. And I used to do that before I got the MVR. I used to have 2 or 3 cameras constantly recording to my PC's hard drive, and then I would go through everything in the morning just to see what was going on. So there are quite a lot of possibilities there, and the software on that is really very easy to use. The camera has 6 large infrared LEDs. At the moment there are only 2 on. The camera has got a system whereby it decides whether to put 2, 4 or 6 on, depending on where the camera is actually focused. So you'll notice from the video at the beginning that the coverage for the IR LEDs is really quite good. I think this is a brilliant camera. It's just what I would expect from Reolink. Well made, packed with functions, with a great picture, and it's a very versatile piece of kit. So if you're thinking about buying a pan, tilt and zoom camera, you may have to spend a little bit more money, but if you buy one of these cameras you're going to get something that is really good at what it's designed for. I think it's a smashing product. I'm really glad that Reolink asked me to review it. I hope you found this review useful, and thank you for watching.